object.
Senator from Kansas.
Mr. President, I rise in objection to this bill as it's an outrageous attack on life-affirming pregnancy resource centers. As a pro-life obstetrician, I've had the pleasure and honor of delivering over 5,000 babies. And I can attest to the life-saving, critical, and comprehensive care and resources these centers provide moms in need. These pro-life charities not only help women in poverty choose life instead of abortion, but they also help women after babies are born. They help provide clothing and diapers and housing assistance and nutrition, and sometimes just putting an arm around their shoulders and helping them get to their next appointment. This legislation seeks to shut them down all around the country on the grounds that they purportedly spread disinformation about abortion. Under this bill, charities could be fined $100,000 or 50% of the revenues earned by the ultimate parent entity of the charity for violating the Act's prohibition on disinformation related to abortion. Now I ask you, who would determine what counts as prohibited disinformation? There's no doubt it would be bureaucrats with a pro-abortion agenda. Is this not an infringement on our First Amendment rights? This bill would turn the FTC into a national abortion disinformation board with an agenda of suppressing speech and spreading pro-abortion propaganda. Nationally, pro-life pregnancy resource centers outnumber abortion facilities 3-1. And that's a good thing. That's a great thing. And in some states, by as many as 11-1. Knowing that many women choose abortion because they feel pressure, that they have no other option. The pro-life movement has placed tremendous resources into these centers, which exist to offer alternatives to abortion, usually at no cost. But right now in America, pregnancy resource centers are the ones that need a protection, as zealous pro-abortion terrorists have spent the past 2 months firebombing and vandalizing pro-life pregnancy centers all across the nation. These criminals, these terrorists, do so not in the name of abortion access, but of retribution for daring to defy the ruling abortion regime and for daring to stand on the side of good in this spiritual battle. There have been more than 60 pregnancy resource centers and offices of pro-life groups attacked and vandalized since the draft Supreme Court opinion was leaked in May. Pro-abortion domestic terrorists have claimed responsibility for these crimes. Congress should be taking up the legislation instead to affirm, grow, and protect pregnancy resource centers and praise the citizens for their great work, for volunteering to help and serve their community. And Attorney General Merrick Garland should abide by his oath of office and prosecute the law. Therefore, I object.
Objection is heard.
Mr. President.
The Senator from New Jersey.
While my colleague is still here, I'd like to propound the question to him, to the chair. Does the First Amendment allow you to promote fraud? Does the First Amendment allow you to promote deception? Is it great work to lie to someone about what you are providing them? Is it great work to allow someone to get your vital health information, believing that you are a health provider, and then being able to use that private information?
Mr. President.
Senator from Kansas.
To answer my colleague, the fraud and the deception is occurring in the abortion clinics. I can tell you story after story of patients crying in my office who went to Planned Parenthood for a pregnancy test and were scheduled for an abortion, coming to my office wondering, do I have to do this abortion? That's where the fraud and deception is occurring, that these women aren't being told about the potential complications of these abortion procedures. They're not being told that these abortion pills are going to cause pain and cramping and bleeding, that they could end up in the emergency room as well. They're not told about the complications from the abortion procedures. That's where the fraud and deception is present. You talk about this as reproductive services. You're afraid to say the word abortion in these clinics. That's the fraud and deception. This isn't reproductive services. These are abortions. This is taking the life of the unborn. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator from
Question then,
Massachusetts.
because I'm a little confused, I think, by what's just happened here. I presume deception is wrong, whoever does it. So if we just said no deception around pregnancy services, would you be willing to support this? Mr. President?
Senator from Massachusetts.
Yes.
Questions need to be asked of
Yes.
the chair.
I'm asking you that question, Mr.
Thank you.
President.
Mr. President, we could
Kansas.
never support any part of this legislation. I think the deception and fraud is occurring on the part of abortion clinics. This is a threat to our First Amendment rights. And I think, like I said in my opening remarks, this is just simply unacceptable. And that's why we continue to object. Thank you.
Senator